We are day 2 at Mobile World Congress. Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing great, thank you.
Super busy, super exciting, so much news, so much hype, so much innovation. Before we dive into all things Mobile World Congress with Spirent, gentlemen, introduce yourselves to the folks.
Go ahead, Stephen.
Hi everyone, I'm Steve Douglas. I head up market strategy for Spirent.
And I'm Eric Updyke, CEO of Spirent Communications.
Well, thanks for being here. And Stephen, we've known each other for a while. We've talked about all of these trends and opportunities in our space. What's top of mind here today, day 2 at Mobile World Congress? What's on your mind? What's been most impactful for you at the show?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of key trends here. Obviously, AI is very hot here at the event, but 5G is also very, very strong as well. So we're seeing quite a lot of discussions around the move to 5G standalone. The market was a little bit slower last year in terms of the launches, but there was a lot of work going on behind the scenes with the service providers preparing for those launches. And we do expect to see that accelerate this year. And we do expect to see quite a new set of services being enabled as these operators move to the real, what I would call true 5G. Things like voice over new radio, new video chat types of applications, and of course private networks. We're seeing quite a focus area around private networks and 5G at the moment, and we expect that to continue to grow. As for AI, I think we're going to, it's still in its infancy in terms with the telcos, and a lot of focus is really behind the scenes at the moment in terms of the data infrastructures and the architectures. And you're seeing a lot of work being done behind the scenes from the cloud hyperscalers and the big data center providers to actually develop out those architectures. And that's where really Spirent is focusing our help at the moment and helping them develop those infrastructures that can cope with the huge volumes of data that's going to be required to drive really, really great AI recommendations that are going to power not only the telco industry, but other enterprises and industries like financial services, banking, etc.
Massive change and disruption is coming. On the Spirent side, this is not the Spirent that I knew a few years ago or 5 or 10 years ago. Tell us about the company today and how much it's changed and adapted to meet these new requirements.
Yeah. We know the world has just gotten more complex for our customers. And so we've always made great products, and we continue to invest and spend significant R&D to make continually great products that are leading edge at the front of the industry. But we know that our customers need additional help. So we've taken this approach of more solutions, more services, more software around our products. And it's really just helped us solve bigger business problems for our customers. It's embedded us much more deeply in their operation. And, I think it's helped us work alongside our customers to navigate this journey and really handle some of that complexity on their behalf.
Yes, taking complexity off the table, that's a good value add. Talk about the Spirent portfolio. It's pretty comprehensive. It's more than folks might imagine, from the network to the endpoint to the cloud. Give us a thumbnail sketch, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a pretty broad portfolio because we service the complete ecosystem. We work very closely from the chipset manufacturers, the device equipment manufacturers, right through the service providers, and IT and the enterprises. So you need a pretty broad portfolio of capabilities to help them be able to test those new technologies, whether it's a handset or a device or a service, whether it's network equipment, right through to how do then you assure and guarantee that they actually operate and perform efficiently on the network. So that means we've got a broad portfolio of not only test and emulation equipment, we also have live network service assurance solutions as well to help actively monitor the performance of the networks and the services. I think, though, Evan, one of the key things that Spirent is probably, we're quite renowned for is automation. Actually, embedded in all our solutions is automation, because it is automation that actually really unlocks the power of that portfolio. And it's really helping a lot of our customers today as they look to drive greater efficiencies, but also greater agility. So the faster that they can test the new networks, the new services, and get them to market, obviously the greater the opportunity for return of investment for them. So we really focus a lot on our automation portfolio, which is a sort of a key enabler behind the scenes there.
Yeah, that's really compelling. And when you talk to your telco customers, what's top of mind here at MWC? What are the top 1, 2, or 3 things that they're consistently talking about?
Yeah. I mean, this theme around automation fits very, very nicely because there's so much stress and pressure around more productivity, better operational efficiency. Of course, Everybody's looking for the new revenue use cases and how's 5G going to drive, new opportunity from a top line perspective. But this theme around, automation and productivity and efficiency, the other thing that's really become very beneficial for us is it's not just for telecom. It's one of the things that's really allowed us to take our solutions beyond telecom into some other industry verticals. We made some really great inroads last year into the financial services vertical in particular, really a flagship win. And we see a lot of additional opportunity to help that industry as they go through digital transformation with solutions that, really we can take from our telco heritage and port straight over to some other industry verticals.
No, I love that. And telco heritage is the key, right? Because telcos, these aren't your grandfather's telcos anymore. I mean, you have managed service providers, you have the hyperscalers, you have new entrants into the space. Tell us about the breadth of the customers you're working with. It's quite extraordinary, the different kinds of service providers that are out there.
It is, and I think the market has radically changed over the last number of years. Not only the service providers themselves, with the new entrants that are coming in, but also the ecosystem that's servicing them. I mean, one of the big sort of probably changes, and a lot of people are talking about, is the Open RAN ecosystem as well. This diversification of the radio networks for the first time in a number of years. And over the last sort of 3 years since the Open RAN initiative started, there's now over 50 new vendors supplying into that environment. And that radically changes not only the opportunity for companies like Spirent in terms of the testing that needs to be done to make sure that these new suppliers can service a mission critical industry like telco, but they can also interoperate and work together to bring that sort of value that the industry is looking for. But also in terms of then working very, very closely with the telcos so they can actually adopt that technology, because they're used to working with 2 or 3 major suppliers. They've spent years with them. And now they're looking to develop more, will bring new diversification, these newer, smaller vendors in, and they're looking to de-risk it. And of course, the easiest way to de-risk the new supplier is having a test and assurance vendor. They're supporting them, making sure that those solutions are performing safely, securely, making sure that you can cope with the changes and the updates that these vendors are obviously going to be delivering in a more rapid and agile way. Because the other big change, Evan, is that most of them are now moving to software. It's not hardware anymore. And most of them are in the cloud. It's not an on-prem infrastructure. And these are all major changes at the moment and challenges. And what Eric was mentioning early on, it's challenges, and most of the time the telcos are trying to deal with. How can they simplify those challenges? How can they bring costs down? And then how can they drive new revenue? So it's a pretty dynamic ecosystem at the moment.
Yeah, dynamic to say the least. I'm always so impressed when I talk to Spirent experts. You have such expertise and knowledge and know-how and depth. Tell us a little bit about the culture and the people at Spirent that have so much knowledge about the industry and the customers. It's very impressive.
Our people are our secret sauce, really, at the end of the day. We compete against, many larger companies. And the reason that we enjoy such a high win rate and our customers love doing business with us, it's really because of the way that our people, the professionalism of our people, the way that we support and serve our customers. And really, it is amongst everything else that we do, we spend almost 20% of revenue on R&D. We have a great sales force. All these things, it's really our, the people at the end of the day that make the difference and determine whether or not we win or lose in the marketplace. And we do tend to win a lot more than we lose.
Well said. So what's next in terms of some of the next big waves? I've seen you talk a lot about 6G, which seems far away, but from a planning and a technology standpoint, isn't that far. You've got 5G standalone happening in a real way, and other standards. What do you see that's exciting on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, 6G, to be fair, is still I would say it's a horizon event. The reality is that over the next sort of 5-6 years, you've got a pretty long process still for 5G. I mean, we really haven't seen true 5G, which was promised. This first wave of 5G we have today, this non-standalone, is really only the teaser of what 5G could offer. It's really that move to 5G standalone. And as I said, with only roughly, we reckon about 51 to 55 operators globally have now launched standalone 5G, and even that's on a limited basis. So there's a pretty long tail to go to bring out that next wave, which enables a lot of the new capabilities that are there for industry and enterprise. And then on top of that, in a couple of years' time, you're going to see the next stage of 5G, which is 5G Advanced. And that's really where you're going to see AI coming into the network. So you're going to see a real explosion beyond what we're seeing today in terms of augmented and virtual reality applications. And then on top of that, you're going to see a couple of additional releases within 5G, which are really probably the forerunner to whatever the 6G system finally becomes. You're going to see technologies like wireless sensing appear in our networks.
Wow.
And you're also probably going to see a broader integration of satellite networks. So one of the other key trends we're seeing at the moment is the testing opportunity around direct-to-device communications from the new low Earth orbit satellites. Now, most of the emphasis today is trying to understand what the art of the possible is. Can I deliver the relevant performance for these types of new services? But over the next coming years, you are going to see gradually the release of capabilities where IoT and short messaging will be available from those satellite constellations. And then gradually in the second half of the decade, you're going to start to see voice and data being delivered. And I think that's going to be game-changing, because one of the great ambitions of the telcos is to provide ubiquitous connectivity everywhere. And obviously, serving underserved communities where it's very difficult to install infrastructure, is a challenge. And with satellite, I think that could be a game changer, not only for the developed world, but also for a lot of those economies who have, up to date been left behind.
Yeah, and you are a global player at Spirent. You have offices and staff and data centers everywhere. It's very impressive. The other thing I'm seeing at Mobile World Congress is the deep dive into verticals. You mentioned financial services, but you're seeing a lot of activity in private 5G with healthcare and manufacturing and other industries. You must see a pretty big push from your telco customers into those verticals to go deeper with more services on the B2B side of things as well.
Yeah, Stephen, so one key enabler will be this move to the standalone 5G core network. We finally see some activity there. It's been a little frustratingly slow, actually, for us, because we believe it is going to be a great enabler of those private networks and of a lot of the exciting 5G use cases. So the momentum is starting to build, which is exciting for us, and we think there's a lot that we can do to help, along the way, to assure those networks and to make sure that everybody's getting the quality of service that they expect when they put these mission critical applications, the lifeblood of their business, on a private 5G network.
Yeah, huge opportunity. Well, we're only on day 2, day 3, day 4 to come. What are you excited about next for the next couple of days? You have your hands full with customers and partners and press and media. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of ones. I mean, to bring back what I said, AI is everywhere here on the show, and as I said, one of the challenges of AI at the moment in its infancy, is how are we going to actually guarantee that the actual recommendations, the inferences, what AI delivers is not biased. It isn't going to provide erroneous results, and that's triggering a wave of interest in the data side of it. Do we have the relevant data? If we do we have the infrastructure and the architectures to support that? And I think there's a big conversation going on around networking at the moment. Around what is the type of networking in the data centers to deal with these new huge clusters of GPUs, which are used for doing the learning and the inferencing, the data that has to get moved rapidly across these infrastructures, the lossiness of it, the lower latency of it, and also the new traffic mixes that are going to be required. And there's a big conversation going on with the big networking infrastructure providers. How are we going to solve this challenge? And as we probably know at the moment, the current way that a lot of the industry is looking at is we're going to build large GPU server farms to test this. Well, that's not very scalable. It's not very cost efficient. So what Spirent is, we've brought to the market the world's first XPU emulator, traffic emulator.
Oh, wow.
Emulating those GPU traffic patterns and mixes at scale. So basically, if you're going to start to develop an infrastructure to support AI in your data center, I can now test that at a fraction of the cost and with easy availability of an emulated environment, rather than having to try to source really costly and difficult to get my hands on GPUs today. And I think that is going to be a game changer for the industry, because with that, I think we can accelerate the adoption and the growth within the data center of supporting good quality data, good quality AI, that's going to lead to, I think, a real change across not only telco, but other industry verticals as well. And it's great to be in at the early stage of actually helping the industry do this.
Wonderful. We'll talk about rocket fuel for our industry. When you talk to other executives, your peers in the industry, is this the most exciting time in their professional career? I mean, there's a lot happening in telecom today.
Yeah, I've been coming to the show for many, many years, and I think one of the things that's great about it is there is always something new in this industry.
Yes.
Right. We continue to evolve. I love to walk around and see all the innovation. You know, the startups, the people with new ideas that need to be harnessed, and we're excited to help them. You know, bring those ideas to reality. And it's a delight to actually, interact with our customers as well, understand a little more deeply their challenges, and how we're going to take things to the next level.
Well, thanks, gentlemen. Unlocking so much opportunity and potential at Spirent. Have a great Mobile World Congress.